about CE5 and extraterrestrial contact, download my new book, now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and 14 other platforms. Book authored by Donald Ledesma. CE5, Frequencies of Contact.
Alien Strand Podcast.
Wind in my ears, flute in the dark,
Podcast.
chimes on a string, something watching.
Alien Strand Podcast.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Desmond. Welcome to today's show. It is going to be an amazing one. Yes, it is, like I always say. But before we get going, I just want to welcome you to Alien Strand Podcast. We talk about Bigfoot, aliens, extraterrestrials, frequencies, the inner self, everything of the unknown we talk about here on Alien Strand. Remember, we always keep an open mind, and if you're into ufology, keep your eyes in the skies, because you'll never know what you're going to miss if you're not looking, right? So sometimes you got to look up. That's what we got to do. All right. So welcome to today's show. And, it's going to be a really, really good show. I have a special guest, Funda Dougherty, that's going to be on here shortly. And, we're going to talk about E.T. Enlightenment. That's what the show's called today, E.T. Enlightenment. It's about the enlightenment of extraterrestrials and how they coexist with us here on Earth, with humans, and how they use other people as and hybrids as well to help us get through our daily lives and help us understand things a little bit better. But before we get going, just welcome to Alien Strand Podcast. You can find us on 26 to 28 platforms of audio podcasts. Yeah, you know what that means, right? Spotify, iHeartRadio, audio. Let's see, what is that? Audio Box, Castbox. There we go. Amazon Radio. You can catch us everywhere. Rumble, you name it. Our video podcast. Don't forget about those. We're on Rumble, YouTube, X. Let's see, Twitch and Facebook. Don't forget to catch our live with video presentations on Rumble. Every Thursday night, 7:45 p.m. Central Time. Check out those amazing presentations that I put out for you guys, so you can also chat on there with me, and I'll answer some questions while we're live tomorrow night. So today's Wednesday, but tomorrow night we're going to end up doing it 7:45 p.m. Catch it on Rumble, YouTube, and if you can, click a like and subscribe. Please hit that bell as well, right? So that way you'll know when we're going to be going live. And even if you can do it on Rumble, it does the same thing just like YouTube. Click the little bell, follow us there, Alien Strand. We got 2 pages there. Just follow them both. Hey man, why not? And go look for the middle films. Don't forget about those. They're still on Tubi TV. They're still on YouTube. They're everywhere on Amazon Prime. You can look at all of our films. We got some more coming up as well. Don't forget to catch our Skylight 1 channel. Yeah, it's still playing. Yes, it is. It's still playing a bunch of UFOs, disclosures, all kinds of good stuff that's happening in the background. So check those channels out as well. Alien Strand has gone a long way. Yeah, we have. we've helped a lot of people in the past, and we always push towards having the awakening experience. I've been talking about that for a few years now, because I've experienced that, right? And I wanted everybody to kind of join along. If you'd want to learn about ufology, you can always go to Alien Strand extraterrestrial group. You can go check us out, our lives there on Facebook. You can follow us anywhere. Just look for all my links after this podcast. You'll find my links there, and also Funda's, my special guest, hers will be on there as well. So please kick back. This podcast is going to be a little over an hour, but hey, it's a great one. It's going to have a lot of information. Me and her had an amazing conversation, and of course it's pre-recorded, but it's okay. You guys can listen to it and just enjoy our conversation as we talk about extraterrestrials and hybrids, right? And how we put everything together in frequencies and planetary alignments and all that good stuff that comes along with it. So anyway, instead of me chattering along, we're going to go ahead and start the podcast, right? And that way you guys can hear Miss Funda Dougherty's her recollection of everything that's happened to her from the past till now, right? And everything she does for everyone, right? So sit back, enjoy, get yourself a soda, a beer, whatever you like, a nice beverage, listen to this podcast, put it on your TV, put it on everywhere you want to listen to it. This is an audio podcast only today. Don't forget, you're going to catch her tomorrow as well on the video presentation as well. To catch her there as well if you want to see her, what she looks like and everything, and then we can have a nice conversation. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get going. Let's start this podcast. Here we go. All right. So now we have Funda Dougherty. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Donald. Thank you for having me on your podcast. I'm very happy to be here and share my story.
Yes. I hear you. You got an accent there. Where's that accent from?
I am originally from Ankara, Turkey. The ancient civilization. That's where I'm coming from.
Oh, wow. So, I know that's a beautiful area out there, isn't it?
Yes, it is lots of history, lots of ancient, things in there. So Turkey is a very, very special country, especially in the future. Turkey will be playing a big role. So Turkey is almost like your pineal gland, your third eye,
right,
of the global, all over the world. So they will be, right now it's like so much spirituality happening in there. Lots of, deep spiritual. Sorry, I mixed it up. So
no, it's like a spiritual awakening, probably. Like, is that what you're saying? Something like that?
Yes. So Turkey, it's like lots of people like becoming very awareness, spiritually opening, awakening a lot. So much going on in there. So in the future, they will play a huge role, like guiding and helping, and then showing the way to the whole world. So.
Wow. Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. Let's go back. Who is Funda Dougherty, and where did all this start for you? Like the ET, the Enlightenment, things like that. How did this begin for you?
Sure. So I describe myself as a ET human hybrid. I am an intuitive psychic, a remote viewer, and a light language transmitter. I speak different light languages and then, transmit to the people. I also channel from the ninth dimension. I call them Qs. They are Galactic Federation. There's like 9 members from the Galactic Federation, and I channel time to time. And I am also a UFO field investigator and a member of MUFON networking.
Wow.
Yes, so I think I love it. It's like amazing because, I explore the UFO phenomenon both through my personal experiences and from a more investigate and scientific perspective. When you are with the MUFON, you are like more involved with the scientific side. So I think that's very helpful to, like personal experiences and also scientific ways. And, also I'm coming from a strong, professional background. I have over 25 years of experience in medical field.
Wow.
I worked in DOD. I was a DOD for 11 years. I left the government right now. And also, I studied very advanced math at the University of Maryland. And I also studied bioinformatics and programming in the master level for a year. But then I had to leave because my guide's like, you don't need to go that direction. So, I had to stop and then, go in a different direction.
Wow. So that's where you're getting like the scientific and mathematical sort of ways with the MUFON and the UFOs and how you're kind of looking at them in a different perspective, more in a scientific way, right?
Yes, they do like lots of scientific ways, and it's amazing. You learn a lot. I'm a new field investigator, so I'm still in training, but
Nice.
they train you, especially Colorado MUFON. It's amazing. So I really highly recommend people to become a member of MUFON because you will learn a lot, and there's a university, you will learn from them. So I think it's a great way to explore UFO phenomenon and also information, like correct way how you can actually record the UFOs. I mean, they teach you so much.
Right. I mean, and we do that as well. We've been helping a lot of people too. MUFON is great. We have people that are that we talk to every day that are in MUFON, and they're investigators as well, and they're great people, and they've learned how to use EMF detectors, things like that, or even just using these applications that we have on our cell phones now, where you can look at the electronic magnetic fields and everything like that on these photos, videos, anything like that, to break them down a little bit. Because like I tell people, if it's kind of hard to tell because they see a UFO, but a lot of times they won't see the electronic magnetic field around it, right? And sometimes you could see it with the naked eye, but when you have these filters on these applications on your phone, you're able to pull it through a little bit better and zoom in, and then you'll know that it's real.
Yes. So it gives you lots of opportunity and lots of knowledge. That's what I know.
Yeah, that's true. So, since you've been, of course you have a lot of education and everything like that, in nursing of a medical field and everything like that. Can you describe the first encounter of like communication that you had with extraterrestrial beings, where, in other words, where it kind of gave you the knowledge that you were like in a hybrid lineage?
Sure. So what happened with me, since I was young, I was experiencing different things. And then at that time, I wasn't really aware of ETs, beings, UFOs. I had that knowledge and awareness. So at my young age, this is how it started. So every night when I go to bed, I lie down, I close my eyes, and then I open my eyes. I see this beautiful red rose floating through me, it's like floating towards me, coming through, and then I don't see the beings, but always like red rose in the air. It was amazing. It was like, it's in the air. I mean, imagine like red rose is coming towards you, and then it disappears. So pretty much every night, like one rose, red rose. And then later on, what starts happening, like when I lay down in the living room or different places, so I will see the same room, and then I will start hearing this female voice. They were saying that, Funda, we want to communicate with you.
Wow.
And I just opened my eyes and just ignore it because I didn't know what was it. And later on, this is what happened. So after, since I was little, I knew I will get married an American and move to the United States.
Wow.
But if you ask me why, I cannot explain. This is something internally.
Right.
I knew that will happen, and that truly that happened. Actually, I had this very profound experience. So in my dream stage, I was in the kitchen, and I was, planning to drink a water, and then suddenly this beautiful angelic being, female being, appeared behind me. It was like beautiful, wavy blonde hair, beautiful blue eyes. It's like a shining light around her. And then she told me if I am ready to go. And then I was like, oh my God, where I'm going? I'm still too young. But what happened, I met with my first husband. He was an American, and, he was in the service, military person. So we got married, and I moved to the United States.
Wow. So you already knew that was coming, but you just didn't know when or what time, or in other words, like a date or anything like that. So they just told you that you were going to have changes that were coming to your life. They were going to be actually it's a drastic change, right? Because coming from Turkey and then back into the United States. Now that when you were still a child back then, did you experience anything like? I know you were having visions and dreams, right? But did you ever experience any like missing time or anything like that when you were going through these visions or beings that were talking to you?
I don't remember that because, like I say, I wasn't have the awareness who I am today and, what I'm experiencing. But, I used to hear voices, like beautiful voices, almost like angelic, in the morning, like they will call me like Funda, Funda. It's like singing.
Right.
Singing and, like these visions or, just knowing things before it's happening. So it was really interesting. It's just like your psychic abilities start like expanding more and more.
Wow.
But like I say, every time it happens, I just open my eyes and just didn't pay attention.
Did that, having like those little psychic traits, did it make you feel a little bit different from others while you were growing up?
Those abilities, skills, truly, I open up to truly who I am, my ET beings, in 2017. But before that, like when I moved to the States, I start having more experiences.
Right.
So like, for example, when I lay down, because suddenly I open my eyes, and then when I open my eyes, I start seeing this like really weird fingers, like long fingers, like almost like, the Grace has those like little long fingers, and then like weird beings on top of me. They are just like, moving their hands, doing something. But, the point is I never ever scared of it. I look at it, I look at them and just close my eyes and then start seeing like more and more beings. Especially this is what happened. So some point I was seeing these very tall beings. They are like humanoid, like human looking, very tall, almost like ceilings. I'm like looking at the ceilings. They are very tall. They wear white clothing, dark hair, blue eyes. They were constantly talking to me and trying to guide me for a while. And then when I call my mom, I'm like, Mom, I saw these like tall people again. But I wasn't sure like who are they, what they are, but they were like talking to me, guiding me. So it was like really interesting. And then after that, I started seeing beings.
Wow.
But I didn't know at that time what they were, what they are doing. But I just often see them. I'm like, whatever, and then just close my eyes. So that's why I never really, really afraid of this being.
I was just going to ask you that too. Like if once your friends or maybe family found out about you're having this experience, how did they react like towards when you'd say something like that? So,
like I say, my truly opening started 2017, so I can actually explain from that, from during that time. So what happened? Do you want me to explain like what happened and what my experiences in 2017?
Yes, please. Sure, go for it.
Yes. So because you're going to understand more and more. So 2017, I start really interesting with the chakras, like energy work, especially with the Reiki. So I started with the Reiki, start interesting with Reiki. So I took classes. I'm a Reiki master, and then I start working on my chakras. I had this Turkish teacher, she was like training us, so she taught me how to work on my chakras. So I started working on my chakras. After that, my third eye is opened.
Right.
And then I start truly seeing the visions, like informations, everything was coming through who I was. I start seeing like, first started with colors, animals, and then I will start seeing myself like flying spacecrafts, robotics, robots. It's almost like Star Wars.
Right.
Very interesting. Different type of beings. I saw like many different of beings. So what happened one night, they work on my chakra. I felt this almost like a magical stick, touch on my, I think, solar plexus and my heart chakra. I felt like puff inside on my body. I woke up. I'm like, oh, what happened? And then next day, all my worries, everything completely, gone.
Wow.
I was feeling very peaceful because I used to worry because, my family in Turkey, I am in States, and like, how are they doing? Are they okay, healthy? You understand, it's just like being far away from your country, your people. So
Right.
I used to worry too much, but then it's like suddenly everything cleared. I was like in a peaceful, different mode. But after that, they start working on my body. Especially one time I tried to block one of my chakras, and then they holded my shoulder and, knocked me out on the bed. I understood, I don't need to be, interfere what they are doing. So, but this has really showed me like who truly I am as a, being hybrid. I think I am like more Lyrian, Syrian, Andromedian, and also I have a, the reptilian too.
Well, they say that, it's sometimes when people experience what you experience, it's like a bloodline that goes from family to family to family. Now, I mean, you could be a hybrid from way back generations and generations. Not saying that you're not full blooded, but it's that part of your DNA is a little bit different than everybody else's. That's why when I had my last podcast, I kind of explained it how other people, some people have the gift or already have the awakening already, or that you don't have to stand in front of a craft or an ET in order to have the awakening moment. You already have it. And that's what you're pretty much expressing here today, that you have already had it. And then it opened up for you once you started using the chakras and the third eye opened up, and then things start opening up a little bit more for you. Now, is it, do hybrids, do they experience a different kind of consciousness than we do?
Well, this is what we need to do. I mean, of course, genetically we are different, but still we are in human body. We are human. We
Right.
are coming from the source. So
Right.
what you need to do, like when my experiences started, I will tell you, I have like crazy experiences, very profound, many different beings, even involved with Men in Black. I mean, I've been taking different places by the government agencies, different places,
Wow.
done different things. So
Yeah.
it is very interesting. Yes, it is very interesting. And, your consciousness, I think this is what I believe. As a human being, I think we are trying to learn how to be human actually in this world, because I don't think we understand truly what is human being.
Agreed.
And so, like we have to work, like I have to work on myself more than anybody.
Right.
Because I do guide people, I do activation, I, do energy work, different things. So I have to clear from my all, negative sides, or understand who truly I am, my strengths, or, we all have light and dark sides. So understand like what you need to change, your belief system, limitations, everything. You have to really work on yourself to understand, and then layer by layer actually become more conscious. And every time you learn something, like for example, I do Reiki, I actually train, I don't know if you ever heard Russian scientist, his name is Alexander Petkov. He found the cosmic energies. So like I train with the cosmic energies. I can actually do, cosmic surgeries. I can do like surgeries, energetic surgeries on people's body.
Wow.
From here to
there.
another country.
Right. Wow.
So what happens, like, when you learn, like, I know astrology, it's like numerology, all different things, when you learn these things, so it makes you, it's like it expands you in a different level. So instead of looking at one subject 90 degrees, you can actually look at it 360.
360, yes.
Wider, yes.
Right, I agree.
So to me, it's like when you learn, when you work on yourself, and then you bring, you get like different levels, like different consciousness. But to me, it doesn't matter you are hybrid or you are not, doesn't matter, because you have to go step by step. I cannot go from one step to all the way top.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
Because you have to really work on yourself, clear yourself. Like if I am guiding people, if I don't have that high knowledge or consciousness, how can I help or guide people?
Exactly.
If you are in negativity, if you are thinking all limitations, different things, I mean, how can I help that person?
Right. Well, hold that thought just for a minute. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes. Okay, hold on.
Okay, thank you.
Wind in my ears, flute in the dark, chimes on a string, something watching. Shapes in the daylight, parked up in the clouds above town, metal in the sunshine.
Alien Strand Podcast.
Clouds full of secrets, hiding in the white and gray. They wait till we're sleeping to pull us through the Milky Way. If I wake up screaming, will they let me keep my name? Clouds full of secrets and nothing will look the same. Oh.
All right, welcome back to the show. We have Funda Dougherty. I'm sorry, and we were talking about the consciousness and how the steps that people, whether either you're a hybrid or not, that how you help people go step by step into learning about themselves and how to open themselves up to maybe, let's just say, like an awakening of some sort. So how do you work with people like that? Do the people just come and ask you like, hey, I think I'm over here on this third step. Can you help me go from fourth, fifth, and sixth? Or do you start from the very beginning?
I start from the beginning. You know, I am a psychic, so my thing is I see the unseen, I know the unknown. This is truly who I am.
Oh,
And so I do lots of readings for people. I do tarot readings. You know, I use different cards, but you know, the information comes from them. So you know, actually, when I'm laying out the cards, all the information comes from them. And we tried many times. You know, we look at that person astrology too. So you know, everything is cosmic information. It's cosmic energies. It's just like right there. You just like, you know, pull out the information and bring it to person. So that's what I do. First, I open up the cards for them and then lay out things, what is happening in their life, what is coming. And then, you know, I truly tune into their, like, what they need to change with themselves. Like, if they need guidance, I will find things, you know, it comes to me because I'm a psychic. I sense, I feel everything comes through, you know, through them. I'm just a conduit. And then I will, you know, focus what that person needs to do, what they need to actually change their life so they can actually, you know, have a better life. And also I am an activator. So that's what I am told. I'm an activator. So when person comes in my life, I mean, when we do the reading or like energetic work, chakras, all different classes, different things, and their life changes completely in a different level.
Wow.
I have lots of customers from all over the countries, you know, from Turkey to Germany to England to, you know, different places in America, especially lots of people from D.C., Washington, D.C. That's where I lived before. And so I help lots of people. And one of my, I like to say this one, I think, because this is really important. one day that day I was flying to Turkey, and then one of my customers, all my customers become my friends.
Right.
And then she said, there's this lady, she really needed, to guidance from you. So she's like, can you do that? I'm like, sure. And then she's like, I will take you to airport, so there's no problem. I'm like, sure. So I'm glad I did, I did the guidance, we chit-chatted over an hour and explained everything. And then later my friend told me that person was actually planning to kill herself.
Oh, wow.
But then she stopped that. So it was like really giving the person like a, the good vibe, the positivity, because that's what I focus.
Right.
Like, how can I, my purpose is touching from my heart to their, people's hearts. And then when you talk from heart to heart, they will understand. If I talking through my mind, you won't understand. You won't receive anything.
Right.
So this is my biggest thing, really touching the people, help them out, and then see them they are actually moving forward for better direction, better decision. So that makes me really happy. So that's my biggest service to humanity. That's why, like my guides told me, they said that because, my mother had a difficulty giving a birth for me. So there is a complications, and 7 doctors came to deliver me. So, and then later on, I think for the next couple of months, I was crying every night at the exact time. It's like really weird. There's, there's no reason.
Wow.
And then later on, my guides told me, I decide, because we are very old soul, I am a hybrid, I'm coming completely at a different level. And then they said, type of souls to come in this world, it wasn't guaranteed. And then I think that's why it's complication happened. But then they told me, they said that, this is what I said, when the humanity become spiritually awakening, like more conscious,
Right.
I said, I will come and I will take the lead, because I will be one of the galactic ambassadors for the future.
Right. Wow. Yeah, and it makes perfect sense, really, in reality. When you help people from the heart, because that's where it comes from. Really, reality. Everything comes from your inside, right, from the heart.
Yeah.
And because I experienced the same thing as well. Because a lot of people that come on my show, there's a lot of them that have, like I said earlier before, PTSD, or they're just kind of afraid to come on the show, or and I talk to them for a good while, and then even after the show, they always tell me, man, I'm so glad I met you, and I was able to get this out to people, and now I feel better, and I don't have those negative thoughts anymore, things like that, and I'm not saying I'm a hybrid of any kind of sort, but it's just that I speak from the heart, right? And which helps so many people, which is the same way what you do, but you get to help them too in different ways, in a more enlightened way, right? Because that's what this podcast is about, enlightenment, to help you enlighten your inside and your psyche and everything like that. So when I speak to people, sometimes a lot of people say that they do communicate like almost like what you do with chakras, but they say that there's like a frequency or some kind of light language that they're able to communicate. Because I had a friend like that that was able to do that, and then after that they start having sort of like physical meetings, like what you've been having at a young age. But a lot of times this comes to them in that form, or in that way, right? Do you hear that a lot from people as well?
Yes. Like my experiences, so what they have done, they work on my eyes. So I used to see this being with the huge eyes. This is not dream stage though. This is truly like real.
In real.
So it's like, I lay down and then this being come in, and then huge eyes, put it in my right eyes. I see it like putting my right eyes. So what they have done, it's like they work on my eyes. So my eyes actually can see much better than, I guess, normal human. Like if I put a material in my eyes, I can see through inside. And then I see these geometric shapes coming in my eyes. It's just like suddenly geometric shapes opens up. And then I go different dimensions, like under the water, I go different dimensions.
Wow.
So I train like with many different hybrids. The centaurs, like half animal, half human. So,
Right.
I train by them. I train with different ones. And then, what they have done, they have been working on my body for a long time. So they started with my body, so able to hold the higher frequencies, like what they have done with me, they start burning my nerve endings. Like every night, pretty much like every night they work on me like how many years. They were giving this electrical impulses, pulses is just like almost like electricity just coming in your body. And then when it comes to certain level, I will shake. It's just like you keeping your hand outlet, the electrical outlet, you putting your finger, electrical outlet is like really crazy. It's just like
Right.
my body was burning so much. So what happened, this is a very profound experience, very different because not many people been there or experienced, but since my body start, when I go to work, I am burning. My body is like really burning because what they are doing. And as a human, but because we are, carbon-based, but now we are moving from carbon-based to crystalline. So that's what they were trying to do for my body. And then it was too much for me. So what they have done one night, the portal is open. I went up. And then as I was going on imagine like a glass elevator, type of glass elevator. I was going up. There's two grays is coming down. So we just like, we look at each other. They were like short grays.
Right.
And I was taking to the Uranus, the planet Uranus.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like not many people in there. In Turkey, there's only a couple people have the knowledge about Uranus because there's a life in there. There's like how in Mars, Saturn, stuff like that. So there's Uranus. I've been taken in there, and then hit the surgeries. And after that, now my body actually can handle higher frequencies. That's what they do. They bring these high frequencies. And also another one is when I was in Turkey visiting my family, they actually played something in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
I felt this like buzzing sound. I woke up. It was like really, they put it something in. So every time they want to communicate, actually, they can come in. I can hear them. Or I can feel the frequencies because there's different frequencies. I can actually reach frequencies. So they can actually send these frequencies. Like if they want me to see something or look at it outside, and then I know, and then just go up and then see the, UFO, different crafts or different things.
So is it like an implant? You're saying that they put it like a...
It might be. Yeah, I think it might be implants. Because, I can hear them. Like, they can come in. They can come in and start talking, sometimes telepathically, but sometimes I hear them in my ear.
Right.
It's just like, if they want me to see or do something, they will come in and then I know what they're saying and just, look at it outside. Very interesting.
It was kind of strange because you were saying from the planet Uranus, right? And then I just read a story the other day of a gentleman. It was like a 1960s article. He had like a woman come to him, and she looked just like a regular human being. Her eyes were a little bit larger, beautiful looking woman, blonde hair. And she said she was from the planet Venus, from deep in the planet Venus. So, and those two planets are pretty large, right? So, and that's and he was able to communicate with her for a while, got photos and everything. So I'm going to end up talking about that on tomorrow night's live podcast. But it's kind of strange that you're pretty close by in the vicinity in that area. Now, I know it's very dense and there's a lot of clouds and things like that, but I mean, we don't know what's below, it's just no way of us able to get down there as far as like in a human form or just in regular consciousness like where we are now. But maybe if you can astral project, or maybe do you do that, astral project as well?
I do. I'm a natural like remote viewer. Like what they do actually, I have a special connection with the planets. So sometimes what they do, if I'm in meditating mode, they will bring the like huge planet in front of me. They're like boom, I see like moon. Or I've been taken to the moon with the group of people. We were wearing this special uniform, light blue uniform.
Right.
with the train, actually be taking with the fast train to the moon. It was really interesting.
Wow.
So I have like lots of experiences, lots of, crazy stuff, when you tell people, they cannot sometimes, because we are all different abilities, different skills,
Right.
and, different experiences. Sometimes people cannot, put their mind around it, what we are experiencing. They're like, what are you talking? But truly,
Wow.
that's what they do. They bring the planets in front of me sometimes. But I do, it's just like remote viewing. I don't even do like intentional. I'm really good with the coordinates, actually. If you give me coordinates, I'm pretty good at it. But still, it's just like, they bring it what you need to see or where you need to be. Or sometimes, like portal opens. It's just like it's like almost like, it's, like turns around, and then I know we are going up. But the biggest thing is like your consciousness is in there.
Right.
It is not like dream stage or anything. I know what is happening. I know where I'm at, what I am experiencing. I can actually use my skills, abilities, different ways. So it is really interesting.
It feels like it's in a physical state, right?
Yes, it's like exactly. It's a physical state. you are kind of like feeling everything. So it is very interesting.
Wow. Well, hold that thought just for a minute. We'll take another quick break, and we'll be back after these messages.
Wind in my ears, flute in the dark, chimes on a string, something watching. Shapes in the daylight, parked up in the clouds above town. Metal in the sunshine, then the thunder rolls them back down. I swear I saw windows, eyes behind the vapor and rain. I blink and it's normal, but it never feels the same. Clouds full of secrets, hiding in the white and gray.
Alien Strand Podcast.
Clouds full of secrets, nothing will look the same. They crawl through the bedroom, slip between the poles and the sheets. Fingers made of starlight, footsteps never touching their feet. They peel back the ceiling.
All right, welcome back to the show. We were talking about astral projecting and going to different planets and talking about expanse, how the consciousness is that she feels sometimes, or not sometimes, she feels like it's in a physical state, right? That's what we're talking about a little while ago. Now, when you help people get to where they need to get to, are they able to astral project too, or do they just kind of? I'm not going to say they want to do what you're doing, but do they just kind of do it for themselves so that way they can feel better and just kind of let's just say get more connected with the earth and the frequencies and everything like that?
Yes. So, I teach them. So, like I teach telepathy, different things. So, when you actually start, my purpose actually to help people to step into their truly who they are.
Okay.
Their skills, their abilities, people when they come in, they have already this like abilities, or maybe they are not truly tapped into that.
Right.
So I will teach them, how to tap into these things. And then, if they wanted to open, they open. But, the sole choice. So we can't do anything. We cannot force people to do anything. So, if they meant for them, and then if they really wanted to, tap into, and if they are ready, because that's the biggest thing. Sometimes people, they can sense, feel, but they are not ready to face with the beings, like they afraid of spirits, everything. So I help type of people too.
Okay.
Because, I see like so many different beings from water to, different kinds. It's not just like grays or,
Yeah, and I was
abstruse or, serious.
right.
There's like too many. That's why I am one of the galactic ambassador for the future, because I don't separate them as good or bad.
Right, just keep them all together, like one entity, like almost like that, right?
Yes. It's like you being in the natural state with them. You don't have to say like you are good. Like people think reptilians bad, but true reptilians are the healers, true healers.
Right.
I hear that part, and you're going to show the pictures tomorrow night. They will see. It's very different. When you connect with these beings, it's like beautiful. Yeah. And what I feel and what I sense, these are truly who we are. That's your expansion. As we know, past, present, and future, everything's happening at the same time. We cannot understand quite yet. But these are our also expansion, our parts. That's what I sense. Like they are me.
Right.
My expansion side, and then they are coming in, and then you bring in your skills, abilities, and truly internally knowing like what you need to know and understand. So it is, I think we are all star beings. That's where we are coming from, the stars. I am not better than anybody.
Right.
We are all equal. We are all one. But just the part is like, do you truly want to open up your skills, abilities, or not? I can give you one example. This is like really unique experiences. So I have friends in Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
We all have like special abilities, skills. So sometimes we get together and we work together. So I have this nurse. So this is what we did. We created a communication between us. I created what I do, I actually open up a triangle.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I open up triangle so she understands I am actually communicating with her. I will send it to her. She understands I am actually communicating, and then I can send the information. I can send images, and she sees from there.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. It is, yes. And she's in Turkey. We will actually work together. Like we will on the phone, and then we hang up, and then sometimes meditate, and exactly we see the same stuff.
It's almost like quantum entanglement, right? Almost like that's what it is,
because
right?
We are all connected, and
right.
We are all connected, and just understanding and tapping into. But the biggest important part is like ego. If you get into ego, like okay, now if you send me something, I'm going to know. I have to know. Then when you do that, you don't know because you're going to give the wrong answer, because that's you tapping into your ego. But actually, when you let it go and then just relax, and like for example, I put a crystal and then I put a number inside the crystal. I send it to my group of people in Turkey, and then they will guess. I will tell them like this is the number from, for example, 1 to 10,
right?
And I will write the number, energetically send it to them, and then they will receive it. So it's like amazing. And the communication, like triangle, because you're opening up the communication level, like with my nurse friend, and she receives. I actually create a crystal and send it to her, and it comes in front of her eyes. Imagine what we can do as a human being. We have all the skills and abilities. It's just the part. Do you want to tap into that, or you just want to ignore?
Oh,
I think that's the soul choices. So that's why.
Does everybody get the, let's just say the right answer most of the time when you're doing those kind of little sessions with your friends?
Sometimes they mostly do, yes, because it depends on the sender too. Your skills, your abilities, your frequency.
Right.
Sometimes they do, but like I say, like even if I get into ego or like I need to know, then you give a wrong answer because because you're just forcing yourself. If you stay in natural and then just tap into energetic field and see what you feel,
Right.
and always like what you feel first time it's the right. So yeah, that's what we do. We play games like that, and actually I do work with the star kids too. So that is very important thing. I want to actually bring it out this podcast too, because we are receiving all these beautiful star kids. They are very important, and they already very knowledgeable, conscious. They know why they are coming, what they're going to do, but the families are not conscious quite yet.
Oh.
And system, unfortunately, it's not working for them either.
Mm-hmm.
So they are not learning anything. They already know everything. So I do work with the kids too. Like I do work with them telepathically, and I try to teach families like how they can communicate with their kids because they are into crystals, different things. So
Right.
I try to guide people because I think I will be connected with the kids in the future too, because kids going to be very important right now because, this is what I know from my guides, 26, 28, it's going to be a little painful time.
Right.
We are going to transition 2030, this world, we're not able to recognize this world. It's going to change completely different, AI is coming, beings are coming. So these kids are not going to be comfortable here, and then they don't want, they're not going to know like who is who. So that's why it is very important for us to really train the families, especially with the newcomers. I think that's a big thing for all of us, to protect the kids and really communicate with them and let them to understand about this world and things.
Yes, because AI it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing too, because I've said this over and over in my podcast. So it's like, you can Google something. I mean, I'm a professional in HVAC or air conditioning, right? And people out there can Google it. And if you Google it, I can Google that too, like some information, and it'll be like 70% right. The rest will be wrong. So AI is not completely there. That's why I don't trust when you Google something, a pill, or you're looking for something about what somebody said or whatever. I don't really trust it too much because it's not 100% accurate AI just yet. But it's scary because it's starting to get better, and it's starting to think a little bit more, and it's starting to target things a little bit more, pinpoint things a little bit more strategically. To where it's starting to just kind of smarten itself a little bit more. You know what I mean? So that's the crazy thing about AI. And like you were saying, the kids, we do need to teach them that not just use that, but it's just kind of, to me personally, I'm just going to say what I feel. Me personally, I just feel sometimes you have to get off social media. Sometimes you just have to get off everything and just go with the family, or just go outside, go enjoy the stars, enjoy the time that you have out there, in the sun or in the mountains, wherever you're at, and just kind of enjoy that part without having your phone in your hand, because it's a big distraction sometimes. And I believe it gets in the way of your frequencies too, that what you're trying to reciprocate with the world and with the earth and with the moon or whatever, it tends to get in the way. Do you feel that way as well?
Exactly. So we need to be in nature, because that's how we rewired with the nature, with the frequencies. Like I used to live in Washington, D.C. I moved in Colorado Springs a year ago. I came with the DOD. And I mean, I love here. It's the mountains, the frequency. It's just like when you go out, you will receive information, because we are all connected. And also for AI, like I do communicate with the AI essence. I see beings.
Right.
And then where I worked before, I actually come across non-human beings, AI, human robots at work, and also like, I think I met Nordic. Was very interesting.
Wow.
So it is already out there. It is already there. AI doesn't scare me, because if I will tell you, it might sound weird, but I am from the future.
Right.
So I see lots of robotic stuff, lots of futuristic stuff, I got download lots of spacecrafts, in me because, sometimes they download you books.
Right.
Like, you see like books coming in, they are downloading all this information. So sometimes they bring devices in front of me. I create futuristic devices. That's why I love space, but, I love to work with the space companies, but who is going to actually service the really humanity's highest best,
Right.
not other way.
And I was gonna ask you about the beings, if they were like a physical like us, or do they exist in a higher dimension? But you said you've seen a Nordic, so I guess they are in a physical sense.
Yes, because one of my patients was a Nordic.
Okay.
He was very tall. He's like eyes, crazy, everything. I mean, where I work, I actually come across lots of experiences. I cannot tell you where I work, but it's like I say, non-human beings, AIs, and like Nordic stuff like that. They do actually work here, and then I come across like in my visions and then sometimes experiences in the dream stage. With the it might be Pleiadians. Like they are always like in a military uniform. They have like blonde hair, like big green eyes, like bigger than human eyes.
Right.
So it's like really interesting. We are doing some stuff, but very, very interesting. I mean, there's beings here.
Well, let me pick your brain just for a second. Since we were talking about the grays earlier, like you saw some when you were going up on that like an elevator that was clear. They were coming down. We always talk about their agenda, and when they take people, sometimes and they do these experiments on them. What is that whole agenda about? What is all that about? What they are doing?
Like we did lots of studies in Turkey too. So Turkey is very advanced, actually. Like I say, in spirituality. So what is about it? It's all about your soul contract.
Okay.
Like your soul contract. Sometimes, like before you come in, you chose your games and everything, what you're going to do, what you're going to play, or, and, those people, like, there's not such a word of abduction. I think only America uses this word as
Right.
abduction. Abduction by aliens, this, that. It's just like, we don't really truly get into that because that soul has agreed to be abducted and then help them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's all about like your, like for me, like, like some people, they are very scared. They have experiences, they are like so scared. I don't scared anything, I don't scared of them.
Right.
I see like so many different kinds, or sometimes you're taking, sometimes, things happen, but, still, I'm not sure. It's just, I think it's in your soul contract, and then they are there to help them because, they were going through their, extinction, all that stuff. So
Right.
I think it is all about your, like, sometimes, people, they just don't believe aliens, UFOs, anything. So
Right.
no matter what we do, they're not going to believe because that's not their time to become that conscious. They have like different roles. They have to go through different things, and then they might back and forth many times to understand truly, what is life about it, universe about it, and then they might experience.
I agree 150%.
So that's why we cannot force people or them to believe or anything like that. But but as we continue, when the beings are coming, communication, everything's opening up, then they're going to see, they're going to understand. But I think this is all the creations from the source.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And what you were talking about just a second, going to backtrack just a second, because you touched on something that I talk about sometimes, that's some people, when they go to these groups and they start making fun of the aliens or the extraterrestrials or their people's work and things like that, they're laughing at it. I see it as, you wouldn't be intrigued if you weren't looking for it. Right. So in other words, you don't understand it yet. When you're actually, because they're kind of scared. I feel that they're afraid of it. And when they joke about it and they just, troll on people that this is what's happening, in the background to them. Like they don't understand it just yet, because this is why they're trolling on all these groups and UFO groups and making fun of things like that. You don't see that much anymore like you used to, but I think it's because they're starting to get a hold and grasp that things are happening in the background, that now they're starting to slowly understand.
Sometimes, even like sometimes your families, they don't understand your experiences. And, this is I always say this, like as a human being. So, no matter where we are from, countries, religions, colors, we are all one. We have to be united as one.
Right.
And if the humanity cannot handle the other humans, like if I cannot stand to other person, you are, for example, I am Muslim, you are Christian. If you can't stand at me, so how are you going to, if you cannot accept me, how are you going to accept the beings?
Exactly.
It's like completely different consciousness, completely different level awareness. So, that's why we have to actually, as a humanity, we have to actually continue bringing the awareness and consciousness and understand what is truly being human. Because
Right.
you are not human if you're not accepting the other person because from somewhere else, or different color, or different religions, or, how you can accept the beings.
Right. Exactly. And it's just, I guess everybody has a different way of looking at things sometimes, but it's just really up to them to figure it out, in the long run, as far as like being into UFOs or not. Like the photos you sent me last night of it's so strange. People are going to see this tomorrow when we're going to go live tomorrow on the live podcast. So if everybody's listening tonight, tomorrow at 7:45 p.m. Central Time, we'll be live on Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, X, and Facebook. And of course, you're going to be coming on the show for about 15 minutes, and we're going to show your photos that you sent to me of these extraterrestrials. It's kind of hard for me to explain over the audio, over the radio, but it's you can see these extraterrestrials inside your eye, in your eye. And it's just that I've never ever seen before in my life. Not like that. And their shapes of their heads and everything it's like they're looking at you. And it's right inside your pupil of your eye. So people's gonna see that tomorrow. They're gonna see the UFO, a triangular UFO, maybe a TR-3B, that you showed me yesterday, and a triangular one too as well that you caught with your camera. They're gonna see all that tomorrow, which is gonna be pretty exciting. And when you experience those things, when you're taking picture of your eye, do you actually see them when that's happening, or you just decide to take a photo of your eye?
So what happens, like, I'm a shapeshifter too. I think I forgot to mention that. I'm a shapeshifter. Very psychic and high frequency people, sometimes they can see me, I'm shifting. But what happens is, like, when hybrid is in, so my eyes, as you see, in the picture, my eyes are brown, but then I get this halo color. It's just almost like blue color around it.
Right.
And then, I sense and I feel, and then I take a picture, and then, all these beings comes out, like really weird, as you saw. It's just like very, very weird. So it's just a feeling, I know where to take a picture when I'm going to take a picture. And then, you saw one of the pictures. Sometimes when I take pictures, they show up in the pictures too.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And,
one of them was kind of spooky. One of them was kind of spooky, like the back of your head. That one was weird. That was kind of spooky looking.
Yeah, that's one actually where I work. I don't want to say the name, but
right.
That's actually, I go take a pictures, and they really different beings. I have like lots of pictures, but I couldn't really go through all those pictures, but very interesting. Yes.
Let me ask you this question, and not to put you directly involved, but do governments already know about hybrids and extraterrestrial contact? And if they so, are they kind of like involved in it?
Yes, they do.
They do.
And then they also read your frequency. They know. I mean, where I work, they are always after me. in dream stage, they always after me, trying to do stuff, and different agencies always like they are taking me in a different levels. Like I met many different people with different skills, abilities, and hybrids too. Like like it looks like human, but then takes out the glasses and the face is just like almost like gray or different ways.
Wow.
I mean, I have like lots of different experiences, and
What
that's why, like one time, Men in Black. I mean, there's 6 Men in Black actually, not just one. 6 of them were
6? Wow.
trying to hunt me down. Throwing me this like very interesting like gold color silver disc towards me. They try to catch me, but every time they throw, it doesn't happen anything to me because I'm really protected and guided. So, they were throwing, but it's not doing in my body. So it was 6 of them, Men in Black. So
why do you think
really?
why do you think the truth about extraterrestrials or UFOs or that, why do you think that all that's been hidden from the public or from everybody for all this time?
Because I think it's the technology, because, they have the technology, and then, I mean, I've been studying UFOs for a long time, and, since like they showed me since 1920s, this has happened in 1920s.
Wow.
And, technology, because, they have this amazing technology, and then they don't want people to know about these technologies, because, I mean, imagine like, because, the pharmaceutical, everything will, the system, eventually system is going to fall down. We are going that direction system. Everything is going to shift and change very near future. So,
Right.
So, I mean, imagine if we have these technologies, I mean, our life will be much easier,
Well,
we don't be slave, humanity won't be slave. That's why it is really important. Humanity, the whole world to get together. That's why for me it's like people like us, we all have to work together.
Right.
For the humanity, for the future of the humanity. We have to work all together and become one. It's just like oneness, we have to clear this separation, as we separate each other, we're going to fall apart,
Yes.
That's why we have to unite. But I think it's all about the technology. So,
Right.
they are hiding so much. There's so much technology, and
Well, it's true.
So,
It's just true, like you said, from the early 1900s, because I always talk about that too. It's like from the late 1890s to early 1900s. It's like from that point on, our technology just took off real quickly. After that, but before that, we were like in the Stone Ages. You know what I mean? We're still in horses and swords and all that stuff way before that, but and barely the guns and things like that. Even World War I, they were still using swords. So. And then once the 1900s came along, boom, our technology took off. So yeah, you're correct. I believe that they started, once the technologies they got from the extraterrestrials, maybe a crash craft or maybe a landed extraterrestrial, and just got with the governments or something like that. I don't know the specifics of it, but I do know. Look where we're at now. Already.
I agree, and I've been many different conferences. I met very important people, all the, the testimonials, all different stuff, all different places. I mean, I've been all these conferences, different places in DC, everything. So very, very interesting. But you know what? Technology, that's why it is important. Like when AI comes in, like I'm not afraid of AI or anything because I see so much futuristic stuff that's very informed. But how are we going to use this technology? Are we using for the humanity's highest best or our own best? I think that's the point. Even like AI's robots, when we are creating this stuff, and remember, the Lemuria Atlantis, that's what we done to ourselves. When you go technology and when you lose the heart, then we are losing the game.
Right, exactly.
So if there is no heart in anything, then we are done.
We're
much,
done.
Really.
Well, I mean,
And
I was going to give you my last question before we close out, and it was going to be what role with hybrids like yourself play in the future of the evolution of humanity?
I feel like I am one of the galactic ambassadors, so I might be working with military, sitting in the same table with them, and then, just like communicating with the, the extraterrestrials, or, we are the bridge from stars to humanity. So like our frequency, like I have to be around military bases, different places, because your frequency, helps to engage with them and then, like lower the, the distraction, stuff like that. So I think it's just bringing awareness, consciousness, love, and light, because that's my purpose. I am here to bring the love and light to people, bridge to humanity and stars, and become one. That's my understanding.
Right.
And because we are coming from the source, we are the source.
Right.
Everything is His creation, source creation.
Source.
So we have to understand how to love each other, respect, not be judgmental.
Right.
And I think that's why hybrids are here. It's just, the raising the frequency, consciousness, awareness, and, the giving to love and light to, humanity. I think that's why we are here. That's why I am here. I am here to service to humanity. And when I connect with people, help them out, I think this is the biggest, how can I say that word? I forgot. But, accomplishment. It's just like, to me, it's like, I ask people, what is your greatest accomplishment? For me, it's like becoming best version of yourself. I think that's what we need to do as a humanity.
That's beautiful. I like the way you said that, and that's perfectly well said. And I'm glad that you're out there helping other people experience that and get to that level of humanity, to where we're just one being, really. In reality, we're human beings, and we have to protect that, and we have to love each other as a human being, not as a different races or anything like that. We just have to love each other as the human beings, and the things that you're doing are beautiful, to help other people, and just to have them get that little spiritual awakening sometimes, and you help them, give them that boost of confidence, make them feel good about themselves, and turn everything into a positive, turn a negative into a positive. And I believe that's what you're doing too. And thank you for doing that for people. Now, where can people find you if they're looking for you on social media, anywhere out there?
Yes, I have actually YouTube. I just started with my YouTube channel. I have Instagram, Facebook, and I have a website. They can find me.
Okay. And what I'll do is I'll add the links to all your pages after this podcast, so that if people need to find you, just go to the description below, and you'll see all of Funda's Facebook pages there, so you guys can find her. But again, thank you for being on the show today. I really, really appreciate it. You've done an amazing job just explaining everything that, you got into a deeper place, to where I haven't been there just yet with some folks, and you actually helped me understand things a little bit better. But thank you for that.
Thank you very much for having me on your podcast. I mean, this is like very special for me to opening up and then bringing your truth and, explaining what it is. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. We're going to have that live podcast. You'll be up there about 15 minutes with me at the very beginning of the podcast. So people tune in at 7:45 tomorrow on Rumble, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and X every Thursday night at 7:45 p.m. Catch the live podcast of Alien Strand. Again, thank you for being on the show, and we'll talk to you pretty soon. Hopefully we'll get you again, okay?
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast as much as I did. It was an amazing one. Great, amazing conversation with Funda there. I mean, we talked real deep about planets, just everything involved with extraterrestrial, and just her being a hybrid, and working with folks and helping people, and her explaining things a little bit deeper. And I really enjoyed this conversation. Just like I said at the very end of that, I was able to connect a little bit better the dots, right, that come together as far as me putting the hybrids, the grays, the everything of the enlightenment all together, the awakening, just everything kind of comes together as one, like she says. And I believe it as well, and I hope more people reach out to her and Alien Strand podcast, because we enjoy having people like that on. And like I said, if you guys like this podcast, please click us a like, subscribe there on YouTube, on Rumble, hit the bell there for notifications when we do go live, because we are going to go live here tomorrow night, which is every Thursday night, 7:45 p.m. Central Time, live on Rumble, live on X, live on Twitch, and live on YouTube. So look for Alien Strand Podcast and you'll find us there. Rumble, we have 2 pages there. Pick whichever one you want, or pick them both, follow them both. And, just enjoy these podcasts, because it gives a lot of information for you guys, so you guys can understand what the awakening really is, and how people connect with contact, because that's what it is. It's connecting with contact, because that's where it starts, right? So, like I said, this is an audio podcast. Listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Amazon Podcast, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're there. Look for Alien Strand Podcast. Please click a like, comment if you can on Spotify, even on iHeartRadio. Give us some comments there if you really enjoyed this podcast. We're going to have them out. Audios now is going to be on Wednesday nights, and video live presentations will be on Thursday night. All right, so until then, you guys have yourselves a good day, have yourselves a good evening, and have yourselves a good night.
Alien Strand Podcast.
You want to learn about CE5 and extraterrestrial contact? Download my new book, now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple, and 14 other platforms. Book authored by Donald Ledesma. CE5, Frequencies of Contact.